months. For those who...
What we do here is go back.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother...
What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I am your host, the one and only Tim, the Child of Mecha. That fucked up my own name. Concerning. Anyway, welcome. It's Wednesday, hump day. We're in the middle of the week. We got stuff to do. We got a book to go over. And I don't know if you have noticed the little sign up here, but Friday will be the first Q&A show. So get your questions ready. I'm going to make a post about that tomorrow on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all those good spots, so you can ask your questions, maybe some more in-depth questions, things of that nature, you know, and we'll be answering them on Friday's show. So a lot of people have wanted the Q&A show to happen. It's here. It's finally going to happen. We're going to spend Friday doing that. That should be a lot of fun. But first, before we get started, a few different things here. rocking the Blue Destiny t-shirt tonight. One of my favorites. It's got the exam logo here on the sleeve. If you order this, you'll get that sleeve printing. It's pretty cool. You can get this in the Child of Mecha store. Go to childofmecha.com, hit the store link at the top. You will be transported to an amazing shop full of Gundam goodies, t-shirts, hats, bags, soon-ish pillows as well. Just awesome stuff. So go check that out. Again, as we have mentioned many, many times before, you can win this model. This one right here, the Perfect Grade Ashtray Red Frame. All you got to do is go and enter the Gunpla Talk fundraiser / giveaway. We are raising money for the National Alopecia Areata Foundation, a really good cause. One lucky donor will win that. 6 others will win little resin busts from Paint Pusher, Mr. Win I'm On, our good friend. And I also got word from our very own Ace Schultz, aka Burkanatir on Facebook, that he's going to be sending us some goodies as well. He's going to be sending us one of the P Bandai Polypod balls to give away, and also some BMC chisels as well. So we're going to be expecting those. We're going to extend the fundraiser one more month so that people that have not entered have the ability to do so. We were going to end that here this coming weekend with the second show after we started it, but we're going to extend it one more month to give people a good opportunity to enter and win some prizes. So if you've not entered, man, now's a great time. Do it, do it, do it. If you cannot enter, we understand. We know times are tough for everybody, so if you're not in the position to be able to donate, man, give us a share. Share on your Facebook, your Instagram, make a video about it on YouTube, Snapchat it. I don't know what the cool kids are doing nowadays, but go ahead and do that for us. It would mean a lot. So it's for a good cause. Make yourself feel good. It's just good for the world. So do that for us. Okay, so the tools that we're going to be using a little bit later tonight can be found on the Amazon link just below on YouTube, or that direction on Facebook. And there's a bunch of good stuff in there. One thing that I do want to bring to your guys' attention, if you need a very quality cutting mat for your desk area right now, listen to me. Facebook and Instagram, what do they have to do with anything? Amazon is running a really crazy deal on the Fiskars 18 by 24 cutting mat. It's gray. It's got some squares in the middle. You turn it over, it's a little bit darker gray with the same weird squares and stuff like that. I just picked one up today. It's under $10 for an 18 by 24 cutting mat. This actual cutting mat retails for about $25 in your brick and mortar store, so it is an absolute steal right now. I checked Camel, which is a price tracking site earlier today, and it's the absolute lowest this particular cutting mat has ever been. So I went ahead and ordered that today for myself because I definitely need a new cutting mat. This cutting mat that I have has seen better days. I've rotated it, flipped it a couple different times, smacked it up, flipped it, rubbed it down. Oh no. For you old school guys, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, man, it is an insane deal. So go pick that up. I have that linked up in the Amazon link. I've already sourced it for you guys. Man, it's a super, super deal right now. So thumbs up on that one. And it's high quality too, because like we were in what is it, Joanne Fabrics here, local fabric store in the US, and I saw the same exact mat. I scanned it through the Amazon app and everything to see how much it was, because I thought, wow, this is a pretty cool mat, right? And it was like $12 at the time. Earlier today, like Freddie's pointing out, $9.90. I was just like, yeah, I'm sold, done. Buy it. I bought it. Also picked up a pack of sanding paper that I want to try out and see what they're like. It's like a pack of 90 for I think it was like $12, $13, something like that. Bailey, you know what I'm talking about. That's right. Um, without context, that just looks dirty in the chat. I have to admit, it's bad. Anyway, enough of that. For you youngsters, go look up Belle Biv DeVoe, BBD, classic 90s R&B group. Amazing. Also in the Amazon link, you have all the tools. You've got some amazing books to peruse. You've also got a ton of streaming gear that I use here to make the Child of Mecha live stream and Gump Talk. I'm still looking at Bailey's comment in the chat, and it's just making me chuckle. But we also make that Gumpo Talk happen. And by the way, this coming Saturday will be the next episode of Gumpo Talk. No guest, no topic. We're just going to freeball it, and we're just going to have some fun with it. Josh is going to be our master of ceremonies, and he's going to come up with some weird, quirky things for us to do. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be funny as hell. We've done these, I think, once or twice before, and we've had a great time doing it. I'm sure he'll have us draw and all that stuff, and it'll get weird. Trust me, it'll get weird. So watch us on Saturday morning here, U.S. time. Check the local time for you over there on good old Zacho Aurelius's channel. Hopefully he'll have that link up for you guys soon, but that will be this coming weekend. So keep that in mind. All right. So, oh, interesting little thing that happened to me over the past couple of days. So, if you guys remember the last stream, we looked at Nothing But Mech 4, the newest book, and it was amazing, and I love it, and it's the best book out of the series and everything. So, you know, I did what any good consumer does. I left a nice review on Amazon where I bought it, and one of the artists that actually contributed to Nothing But Mech 4 that I actually follow on Instagram posted a picture of my review, and I was just like, I commented, I'm like, hey, that's my review. And so actually I got a really good little shout out from one of the artists. If you remember the Predator, the big mech that kind of looked like the moose, it was really, really cool. I think we spent a couple seconds on it. It was one of the guys that did that. And then Mr. Lauren Wood, who actually oversees the creation of Nothing But Mech, he actually chimed in and kind of gave me a shout out too. And they actually gave me a shout out on the Nothing But Mech account on Instagram. I thought that was kind of cool. You know, they didn't have to do that, right? But I kind of made me feel nice. So there you go. Anyway, let's switch to two camera. Let's take a look at this amazing book. This is a good one. And boom. Gundam Scratch Build Manual 2. We went over 1. This is 2. So we're going to go through this here right quick, and we're going to tell you and show you how good this book is. Just as good as its first volume, but this will show you how to build this awesome bust of good old Granddad Gundam. I think this is about 135, maybe. Maybe a different size. I don't know. I have to look. But anyway, this is a good one. So let's take a look, and real quick. Now, obviously, since this is Japanese, it's backward compared to our normal books, right? So here are the contents. And man, this is going to take you through a ton of different things. Some nice resin casting down here at the bottom. You know, all sorts of different cool little techniques and stuff like that. So let's thumb through this. Let's take a look. Right about there, evergreen plastic. Love me some evergreen. And it shows you different techniques, how to use, you know, digital calipers to mark different edges and things. A lot of the same tools that you see me use are the same tools that are in this book, honestly. You got a nice little triangle here, and I've got, I don't know what happened to my triangle. It's around here somewhere. You see the different little T-squares and things like that. all sorts of that stuff. So this kind of takes you through scratch building with plastic and things of that nature. And basically what it's doing is it's showing you how to build this kind of Gundam or GM style leg here. But then also it kind of shows you how you can kind of build this interesting kind of Zaku-ish style leg, almost like a Hyzak looking leg there, if I am not mistaken. I could be completely mistaken. I could be completely off, but that's what it looks like, at least to me. And shows you different tools. Here's a compass. That is in the style, I think that's the Alpha cutter that Andrew was talking about the other night. And like I said, that's a big radius. So that's why I have that that other one, the Platts circle cutter, simply because it gets a much smaller diameter cut. And excuse me, shows you how to work with tubes and things like that to make like joints for your scratch built arms or whatever jointing that you will need. And really good stuff. This I really like. These kind of safety kind of cages, that scaffolding type look thing. It shows you how to actually build those and then kind of insert those into you know, inner detail and things like that. This is kind of like a flip up hatch, and I don't know what that might become or is, but very cool stuff. Shows you how to make drilling templates as well. Some very interesting techniques all around in this book. Honestly, this book is worth its weight in gold, just like the first one. I really relied very heavily on these two books when I first kind of got into scratch building. I would just sit and look and stare at these books just for hours on end, just to try and wrap my head around what was trying to be accomplished in these books, right? Here you can use a just a simple pipe cutter to cut very small, you know, notches, or even just cut very small rod and tube. You can use kind of a bracing mechanism here, just made out of, you know, just styrene sheet, and you can use a standard, you know, little itty bitty pipe cutter like this one here. This is just a little tiny Home Depot pipe cutter, and man, it's worth its weight, right? I think this was like $5 at Home Depot. So it's a good tool. It's a good tool. Let's see. Shows you also how to bevel tubes and rods and stuff like that. How to make beveling tools actually with different sized rods and you know, some razor blades and things of that nature. Really cool techniques to make your own kind of tools. And man, just like I said, this book is really great. Goes again into more kind of sculpting with plastic. I mean, here they just glue up just mounds of plastic, and then they start to cut out the shape of a Gundam head, and you know, they just basically start to form it until you get this. Get the screen there. Basically when you get to that. So yeah, this is just really kind of an amazing book here. Shows you how to create tires. You know, basically cut up old or original tires, widen them, and then add some detail in there. Here's a nice one here to show different details that you can imagine with different flexible joints and things. You know, all sorts of really cool stuff. Excuse me. How to basically wrap styrene, layer styrene around a shape. Very cool. How you can kind of create curves. They're creating a spoon here, just out of a simple shape, but all they do is just cut little notches in there, and they form that into curves, sand it, of course, and then you've got yourself a little spoon. But that obviously shows how to create other curves and other shapes, like a Zaku leg or something like that, that requires you know, them to be curvy. And then speaking of a Zaku leg, this is kind of very similar to that. You make your inner frame, you have your cross sections, and then you just start gluing strips around that frame. Glue them together, fill them with putty, sand them down smooth, and then bada boom, bada bing, you've got a nice smoothed out curvy leg, right? So wonderful techniques all around in this thing. And it just gets into virtually everything that you can think of here. It gets into vacuum forming, which I am a pretty big fan of. They're scratch building a Sazabi head that looks like back there. They actually show you how to make your own vacuum forming style system. This is very rudimentary, mind you, but you know, it gets the job done with these teeny tiny parts. So very, very useful. And then basically it shows you how to build something like that, some really kind of recessed, interesting shaped thrusters and things of that nature. Very, very cool stuff there. Shows you how to create sleeves using vacuum forming. Basically, you just vacuum form around the part that you want to sleeve up and pop that off, cut it to the shape and decoration that you want, and then there you go. You've got sleeves for your next project, right? How to build arms and things. This looks like it's off of Hazel, but how to scratch build those specific style arms, legs, the whole nine. It's just really, really an amazing book. Here is a little bit more advanced forming of shapes and things using polyester putty and also some other techniques. This is head shaping. Basically, you start with your cross sections and then you basically build up from there. Very, very kind of advanced stuff, but man, they break it down to simple techniques that are just really, really easy to follow. And then they get into resin casting, which is one of my favorite pastimes, honestly. It's really, really cool. And they show you kind of soft resin, how to heat it up with a heat gun, and then that will make it pliable, bendable, basically. So really interesting things there. And once that resin cools down, it'll be rock hard again. So they basically take you through making a Gabaldi beta, I don't know, and basically every technique along the way. Really, really amazing book. Here's some more heat forming, some vacuum forming here. And let's see, let's find the bust, the Gundam bust here. I mean, I could spend hours just taking you guys through this book, but I'm not going to. Here's a good example of how to do dump molds. Very simple, one-part molds, and basically what they're doing is creating drilling templates to create basically a like a circular, like almost like a disc brake, right? So very, very cool. Scribing and stuff here again. Awesome stuff. How to do that cool inner detail. Let's see, there's the Gabaldi. Scratch build. Look at that thing. 100% scratch build. 1/100 scale Gabaldi beta. Amazing. They even take you through how to kind of make your own inner frame. I mean, come on. That's awesome. Look at this. Aqua GM. Basically built from scratch. Shows you how to do it. Really cool stuff. That looks like an ugly Zaku. I don't know. And then they get into the building of the actual Gundam bust. This, man, is just wild. I spent many, many hours just poring over these details to see how they did things and how they made each part. It's super, super incredible. I mean, everything down from, just the gears and the pistons and the inner supports and things like that, the hoses, everything is just so, so amazingly well made. Wow. Split through a little bit more than I should have. And then there you go. So this is a non-scale scratch build. Okay, so there is a bottle of Mr. Cement Deluxe. So about the size of your Tamiya Extra Thin, right? Maybe just a little bit bigger. So that's probably not 1/35th. That's probably a little bit smaller than a 1/35th. But still, I mean, you can't argue with the detail and the craftsmanship in this thing. It's just off the scale. Gets into a little bit more resin casting, some good techniques and best practices for resin casting, how to create a pour spout, how to route your parts in the mold to reduce air bubbles and things, because that's huge. That's massively, massively important. All sorts of things. This is all things resin casting at this point for these back few pages, and that's really quite useful. And let's see, yeah. So this just finishes up with all things resin casting, and that's basically the book. So really good book, this one. Now, I don't know how hard this is to find nowadays, because I honestly haven't had to look, but check, your normal places, HLJ, Hobby Search, Ami, places like that, Mandarake, might have some good used copies of this, but if you can find it, I highly recommend it. So, Gundam Scratch Build Manual 2. So there you go. Here we go. All right. So let's kick back. Let's take a look and get caught up with the chat. Let's switch back to camera 1 there. Hi guys. Let's see who we have. Looks like the gang of usual suspects here. Gamer Bud, Fudobiyois. Looks like they're painting a garage kit face. Interesting. Enrico Asanohashi's with us. He says, hello everyone. Building a building right now. Very cool. Bailey is with us. He says, what's good everybody? 01 Shield, Jay Lynch, Freddie Torres. Let's see. Who else we got? Who's talking? Nobody's talking. GizmoCon Gunpla. They want you to work for it, Freddie. Google Translate the English version. Yeah, all right. They unfortunately do not make a English version for the Gundam Scratch Build manuals, although some have tried to translate it. I have seen examples, and you might be able to still find those. I don't know. Super Toki over there on Twitch, he says, what have you resin cast? And also, what book is it? Gundam Scratch Build Manual 2, like I just showed. But actually, I've done quite a good amount of resin casting. I've shown these before, but these are the thrusters, the back thrusters for the Hummingbird that I built back in 2016, starting in 2012. And I scratch built a bunch of other things and resin cast those, the knee parts for the Aussie and some other parts for that. Yeah, just a bunch of other things that I needed to duplicate. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun, actually. And Soravon Zero is with us as always, holding down the fort over there. What's up, Soravon? Thanks for joining us again. He says that's a Gundam Scratch Build Manual Volume 2. There we go. He also said scans of the book do exist if you're a dirty pirate. If you can't find a real copy to buy it, it could be your only option. That's very, very true. Very, very true. Julius Dembski is with us. The power at my house came back on just in time. Fortune. Awesome. GizmoCon Gunpla says it's discontinued. Only found it on Amazon for like $90. Damn. Bailey says, yeah, 105 and up pre-owned on eBay from Japan. Ouch. Interesting. Thoughts? No. I wouldn't separate myself from it. I can't sell this book. It's too good. It's too good. Just too good, right? So very cool. Very cool. Smack it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh no! Oh, good stuff. All right, let's switch back to camera 2. Let's show you what we are working on tonight. Before I get into actual parts and the Jesta and stuff like that, boom! Look at this. This is 7x7, and this will be the biggest single jig that I've ever created for a model. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to say any more. So that'll be fun. It's taking me a while. It's taking me a long while. All right, let's get zoomed in. Boom, there we go. And looks like Andrew Young has joined us. There goes the party. Gizmo Kangumpa. Saw you mind thinking for a bit there. Yeah, you know, it happens. All right, so I revisited the shoulders just a little bit because I do want to put some added detail on the ends here. And actually, I did do that a little bit. So it's hard to see right now, but this little strip right here, that's what I want to show you because this is a cool little detail. Let's get super zoomed on that, and boom, there she is. So what I've got here is 1mm half round that I've glued down and obviously done a border scribe on, and then about one, I don't know, that's probably 1/2 millimeter, maybe 3/4 of a millimeter in from each side, scribed a line down the middle. So basically what we're trying to replicate here is it's just a warning light, right? So when I go to paint this, these two end parts will be kind of a grayish color, and then the middle part here will act as a light. That'll be some sort of bright color, green, red, some sort of fluorescent color maybe, and it's just going to make it really kind of pop and give it that really interesting levels of detail. So that's super, super easy to replicate, and we're going to work on that hopefully a little bit later tonight. Hopefully I can get to that and show you that because I really do like that particular detail. It's actually one of my favorites, and it just adds so much presence to a part. I've got it actually, you know, on both already installed there. And we're going to continue to work here on the back skirts first. We'll continue and finish this piece off. We're about halfway through that. We just have some scribing on the top. We've got to bevel this strapping detail over here. Have to add the top plate right here to this piece, and then also add the little pin detail to that too. So we're going to start on that here in just a moment, but I do want to give you a little preview of the side skirts that I worked on while we were away. So let's get super zoomed in on this as well, because I want to show you what I did with this thing. All right, so the white border here, this strapping strip thing around here, what I've done is I've smoothly sanded this edge and the outside edges. So what this does in effect is raise the effective level of this particular surface so that this part, this inner part, now becomes almost like a recessed panel. And I really like that because I did that with the Jesta's legs. Just put, you know, some very thin strip around the sides and built that up so that the inside would look recessed. Same thing here, right? And just put a little X plate there on that little block. Border scribed here, made a little notch there, and you know, put some little round molds on the ends of these grenades, and then some more half round on this side to kind of look like a reinforcement there. I still have to clean this up. Obviously, you can see the glue squeeze out there. That's kind of ugly. And then just simple straight scribes here and notches and stuff like that here on the top. Very, very easy. And then just a nice big old thick plate. That's 1 millimeter thick, where the strip on the border is only a 1/4 millimeter thick. So this sticks out pretty good. That's very pronounced. And that, as you can see, that's all nicely beveled and everything there. Not quite done with this part yet. I do want to add just a little bit of pizzazz to it because it's a little plain right now. So we might get to that a little bit later as well, depending on where we end up. But let's get out of super zoom. Get rid of that box there, and let's pull these into frame, shall we? All right. So let's see. Andrew Young had a long day, long 4-hour research group meeting. Just finished his homework. Nice to relax. Okay. I bring the party boy. Oh my God. Insert party boy music from Jackass. Thank you, Gamer Bud. That's probably very appropriate. Yay. This is going to get old real quick. I can see it now, people. I can see it now. All right, so let's start to duplicate some things here. We're going to start with the border scribe here. We need to bring down a line right here, and we need to extend it up to this edge of the white part here as well. And then we need to do a little bit on the fronts here too. We've got some scribing here to do right there, and then we've got like a nice big notch to do over on that side. Now, if you remember, last time we met, I scribed the... let's see if we can get the glare on it so you can see. And there she is right there. So if you remember last time, I scribed this line all the way up the part. So what I did was I filled that with super glue, sanded it down, shaved it off. This is all filled in nice and flat. This line is now flat. This line extends just to that horizontal line now. So again, really, really good way to use super glue as filler to fix any mistakes that you might have when you do scribing. So easy thing to do. All right. So dynamo tape. Here we go. All right. So we're gonna get some little strips that I have left over from last time. I'm gonna pull those into play here. We're gonna put that off for good measure. And let's compare parts here. Let's get one of these peeled off here. We don't need the whole thing, so we're not going to waste this whole piece of Dymo on this particular part. So we're going to cut it right about there. We're just going to score it for right now. I don't want to cut right on the part. That's just kind of dumb. So we're going to put that strip off to the side. We're going to peel this off, put this down on the surface, get these border scribes done up, and then we'll move on. Where are my tweezers? Here we go. So I don't know if you guys have seen, but my good friend Zach Aurelius released an image of the Gundam Stormbringer box today. And it seems like, I don't know if Bandai's trying to punk people or what, but it's kind of an interesting box. It's almost like a hip-hop kind of graffiti look to it. It's weird. I'm not used to it. Bandai doesn't usually do this type of thing. So it's kind of cool, actually. I dig it, right? Joshua Caspers is over there on Facebook saying hello. What's up, Josh? Thank you for joining us. But I like the Stormbringer. Like I said, I've already got it on pre-order through our good friend A. Schultz, Mr. Burkanateer. And hopefully that should be coming soonish. We'll see. Andrew says that box art is funny. Kinda, yeah. Kinda. Okay. Now, since this is a border scribe, we need to be very careful to not overshoot our edge, which I did on the front of this particular skirt. And I don't really want that to happen again, so I'm going to be somewhat careful with this corner because I could easily blow this out, no problem. So we're going to get our 0.15. That's our panel line chisel of choice. And let's go to town. Let's start in the corner. Bring that right up. Right up to the corner of the other scribe that we made earlier. And if this is your first time seeing scribing, you want to let the chisel do the work. You want to be super light on the first few passes. And then as you start to establish the line, then you can start adding just a hair of pressure, just a little bit, not much. Okay. So now that we've got that line established here, let's pull this long part off. And let's start to clean up the corner here. Nice. All right. Okay. So, this little piece of tape here will now go right on the edge, parallel to that beveled edge here, and that will make our inside border. Make sure that's nice and parallel, make sure there's no offset to it. That looks good. And we're going to grab another little piece of Dymo tape here to try and align and extend this border scribe on this white part down to meet the bevel scribe on this. That's going to be long enough, so cool. We'll use this. Let's get this backing stripped off of here. Okay. Now, when you're trying to extend a scribe line like this, it's absolutely 100% crucial to properly align the tape and make that completely parallel to the existing scribe line. Because if that's not perfectly parallel, you're just going to be completely SOL, 100%. And let's trim this piece back so we can properly make that. This sort of thing, you want to measure twice, cut once. be very, very careful with lining your tape up. Okay. Let's compare. Yep. All right. Good, good, good. So far, so good, guys. So far, so good. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Now we're going to push this little piece out from under the big one. And get this back into alignment here. Just like that. And pull this border scribe down ever so gently. All right. So, looks like that is looking good. Continue to deepen this line here. Pull this off, and now we can kind of go full bore at this thing and really start to get these lines nice and deep, get them established, looking good to where we need them to be. As always, make sure you're cleaning the debris out of your lines. You don't want the chisel to ramp on you and jump out of your lines to ruin your surface of your piece. That would be bad. That would be very bad. And I've had that done before, and it still happens to me even today. So just be careful with it, that's all. Make sure you're working in different directions too. That will give you, if you work in different directions, that'll give you the smoothest panel line possible. And that's, kind of important, because when you go to panel line wash, after you painted and clear coated your model and everything, if you have a smooth bottom panel line, that will enable the wash to flow into it at a much easier rate. Basically, if you have panel line wavy at the bottom or anything like that, that's going to cause the panel line to have to work harder, and that capillary action is going to have to work a lot harder too. So if it's nice and smooth, whoosh, path of least resistance, it just flows. Hope you all liked that sound effect. I worked very hard on that. Whoosh. Okay, we are almost done with this border scribe, and it's lining up pretty good. Okay. Ooh. This thing gets hot. I don't know about you guys. Very, very hot. Yes, Andrew. I have not read it, but I looked it over, and you still owe me homework, by the way, because you didn't do everything that I asked for. So you need to go back, take a look at my message, and especially the beginning, because that's the part that you missed. Get that to me, and then I'll look at it in its entirety. So You still have homework to do, little boy. All right. So let's see. Sorry, guys. Talking to Andrew on the chat there. I gave him some homework. So, you know what? Let's get super zoomed in on this so we can see it in better detail. How these match up. All right. Okay. So not too bad. Not too bad. A little variance. This panel line here seems to be a hair shorter than the mirror one. But I'm not really overly concerned with that because you're never going to see that. The only time you're going to see that is if you're looking at it at 5x freaking macro zoom like we're doing right now, right? So to me, this looks really, really good. All of these lines match up real nice. You've got this corner matching up really, really quite nice there. Got this corner matching up, coming up to this. This is all border scribes again. This piece is all border scribes now. And then let's see if we can get some light on this. Yeah. See how the line extension, this line that we extended down from this border scribe, just matches up super perfect, all parallel, looking really nice. So that's what you're going for, guys. That's what, you know, just taking your time and, you know, just keeping that precision at the top of your priority list. That's what you'll be able to achieve. So just take your time. Just take your time. Just do it slow. Do it right. That's all you got to do. So this is not hard. It's just tedious, right? So, all right. So now that we've got that border scribe, what we're going to do is transition back to the front edge of this thing, and there's a little, there's some little boxes on the front here that we need to start to replicate. Okay. So we're going to do that next. We're going to get another little piece of Dymo tape here. We don't need too much, just probably about a ½ inch or so. That looks good there. And let's get the backing off of here. This is going to go pretty quickly because these are just simple box scribes. Square box scribes, very, very simple to do. And it'll just, take us a few minutes here. I got a piece of Dymo tape stuck on my damn tweezers. Get out of here. All right. Okay. And now, I'm going to line this up on the proper side. It's easy to do. It's easy to get mixed up, and when you're mirroring details like this, it's super, super easy to get mixed up and then basically mirror a detail on the wrong side. I've done it plenty of times. Plenty of times. All right. So, simple scribe, we're just pulling from this horizontal line right down and off the piece. Very quick work. And that's all it takes. Easy. So now what we got to do next are some horizontal lines that we've got to. Where's the glare? There it is. There are some horizontal lines that we need to scribe into that long strip there. So to do that, let's check the width. I'm going to have to move that up and down. So to do that, we're just going to place the strip that we just used previously about where we need that horizontal line. And we're just going to reuse this strip.
Why cut another piece of dynamo tape and waste it when you can just reuse a strip that was barely used? Okay. And then we're going to pick that strip up, reposition it, do the same thing. Okay, there we go. And there we are. So we've got those horizontal lines established. Now we just need to go back, deepen them up, and clean up all of these lines that we just scribed in. So let's start with this vertical line. First, deepen that to where we need it to be, and then go back, deepen up these horizontal lines as well. Once we finish up with this, I'll check back in with the chat, because you guys are going off in the chat as normal. And looks like I saw some questions. So I want to be able to address those. And say hi to whoever might have come in here since the last time I checked it, too. All right. So those are nice and deepened now. Let's just go back from the other side just to get them nice and even. Get the gunk out of those lines. And there we go. That is easy. So now all we have to do, all the scribing that's left on this thing are the notches. And that's really easy as well. And then what we have to do is go back and just extend all of the lines that we've done here on the bottom, because you need to extend those on the bottom here to make it look more realistic. You don't want those lines to just end the panel, the edge of the panel. You want them to wrap around so they have some sort of logical endpoint, right? So that's what we do. All right, let's get caught up with the chat. Let's switch to camera one so I can talk to you guys. Let's see what we've got. Let's go back up in the chat. Let's see. All right, so here we go. Last, we were talking about the Gundam Stormbringer box, and Freddy Torres says no one proved the intern's designs. That's funny. I like that. Andrew Young, yo, they be hitting that box art with the right marketing scheme. Don't do that, Andrew. Just make a fool of yourself. Don't do that. Andrew Young says, I regret not organizing all my random whip pictures from Japanese modelers on my computer. Well, there's still time. It's all over the place, and now I'm taking the time reorganizing it by kit. Nice. Enrico Asa Nohashi says, fortunately, mine are organized. Well, kinda, he says. Yeah, you know, keep your shit organized. It's the best thing you can do. Let's see. Making folders, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Talking, you know, Andrew's talking about all that. Let's see. Enrico Asanohashi says, I've been planning a gun cannon since 2015, been collecting reference material and planning since then. You're stuck in the planning stages. Just do it. Just get to it. Pull the trigger and just get to it. That's what I say. Although I have trouble doing that myself, so who am I to talk, right? 01 Shield says, probably gonna rewatch all of these live streams and use them as tutorials and practice on the half-finished Banshee Verka when I finish it after all the other projects. That's awesome, dude. Hopefully you guys are learning shit, right? So we'll see. Let's see. Bailey says, yeah, I have a few of those. They're never going to see it, but I know it's there on my Zaku too. Those details. Yeah. Nice. 01 Shield, never use black or charcoal gray and you're good.
talking about painting and everything. Andrew Young says, I feel if you paint this kit a dark color, all those panel lines will be hard to see. If you do it right, they won't be. Trust me. And I'm not talking about like using white or silver, any of that dumb shit for your panel line wash. That just looks stupid. To me, it looks dumb. It looks like Tron blew up all over your model. I always suggest against using a light color on a dark panel whenever anybody suggests that in one of like the Facebook groups or something like that, and I always flash a picture of a Tron cycle and stuff. It's just it's just not worth it at that point. So don't do that, guys. That's just not a good look. Andrew Young just watched a Plemo Socorro episode where they panel lined Titans Mark II with like yellow or gold or something bright. Popped really nicely. Tron. Just Tron, man. Tron. Jesus. I can understand that they're held up like holy scrolls, but I've watched more recent and better whip vids. Yeah, you know, the Plamo Socorro videos are okay. They're definitely not the end-all be-all. Definitely not. Let's see. Enrique Asanohashi. Yeah, the panel lining on that Mark II was sort of light gray, if he recalls correctly. Okay. Talking about all that stuff. Anyway, Fudabeori Yubaba has a GeoCities page, but his Twitter is more active. Japanese modeler. Okay. Andrew Young. Yeah, I don't like white on panels. It's kind of dumb. The panel lines on that new Gundam, I guess, right? Andrew Young. I mean, like something on a Trans Am effect or something, I can dig it, but not stuff like actual normie mechs. Yeah, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's just, I'm not down with that look, right? It seriously looks like Tron. Like Tron just blew up your model or something, right? All of the light on that, just bad, right? Freddy Torres GeoCities. Yeah, dude, right? Blast from the past. Surprised the Japanese modelers still aren't using like MySpace GeoCities. But hey, man, you know what? They're still using Yahoo over there. Yahoo's the big thing over there. Like Yahoo auctions and stuff. It's not eBay, it's Yahoo over there. So it's one of those things, I guess, right? Cultural differences. Anyway, let's get back to work. Camera 2, bada boom. We're going to do some notching here real quick, and then we're going to move along. We're going to get this little pin detail done up here. We're going to chamfer, bevel all these little lines here. That won't take very long at all. Excuse me. And then what can we do after that? We'll get into that half round, that kind of light bar effect. We'll get into that here after that if we have time. And then we'll start to maybe work on the side skirts. And this thing is starting to wrap up real quick, you guys. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel on this one, so it's really kind of exciting. So, digging it. All right, 0.3, there we go. 0.30 is my personal favorite for notches and things of that nature. So we're going to use this here. We're just going to cut a few little notches into this thing. And for around here, this area just above the cutout for the vent, I like to use the cutout itself as a marking where to put the vent or the notches and things. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put that notch nicely aligned with the cutout itself. And these are super small, so I'm just freehanding these things. These are about, I don't know, maybe a millimeter in total length, probably less. So they're not all that big. So freehanding is pretty easy to do with these
with these little notches here. So there's one. Let's get the other one notched up here. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you're new to scribing, notching, all that stuff, I would probably not recommend freehanding notches like this. If you are a little bit more in tune, if you've got some experience doing, you know, panel lines and scribing and things like that, then go ahead and give it a shot. Otherwise, use some Dymo tape just to be on the safe side. Make sure they're nice and straight, and then that way you'll build up that experience to where you've got the comfort level, the feel of the chisel in your hands, and you can then start to freehand that notch in. All right. So there's two. We need two more on this thing. Just on the front panel here, we're going to go about the same distance in from the outside line. So about 1.5 millimeters is what I'm judging here. Have you guys seen the Captain Marvel trailer? Holy shit, does that look good. I don't know about you guys, but I'm super psyched for it. Just from the opening shot alone of that trailer, her crashing into the Blockbuster Video, that one shot got me, just sold me, right? That's my childhood, right? Super Toki, yeah, over there on Twitch, looked dope. Dude, it so did. I'm so excited for it. I think Alison Brie looks really good as Captain Marvel. And, man, I'm really excited for the possibilities of what could happen in that movie. If you guys have not seen that trailer yet, man, I highly recommend you take some time and go check it out. Just don't do it right now. Keep watching the stream. Do it afterwards, right? Oh man, yeah, Freddy Torres, the Mohawk. They actually incorporated that, the helmet with the Mohawk on it. Yeah, that was awesome. Super Toki said the same thing. Loved the shots with the helm hawk. Dude, I was just like, that's perfect, right? Freddy Torres still wish Katie Sackhoff was casted instead. Yeah, you know, there's some other ones. She definitely would have been a good one. But I think different casting choices might have been, I don't know, might have been better. But you know, I'm not a casting agent. I don't know how other actresses, you know, perform, you know, in front of the camera, or how they auditioned or whatever. Who knows? Maybe Katie Sackhoff auditioned and she tanked it. I don't know, right? But you know, just, and I don't know a lot about Carol Danvers. I was never really a Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel fan growing up. I was, you know, kind of an X-Men guy and Captain America and stuff like that. So I never really followed that particular character. But, you know, from the little that I know of her, I'm like, man, you know, if Alison Brie looks almost too nice, she's like too cute for like a superhero, right? And it's like, you look at Scarlett Johansson, she can do that, like, that, you know, mean face, right? Where I just don't necessarily see it coming from Alison Brie. I don't see that, you know, mean mug at all. Maybe she can pull it off. I don't know. But from the movies that I've seen her in and stuff like that, I'm just like, I don't know about it. But the trailer just looks incredible. So, you know, I will suspend all my judgments until I see the movie, which I'm super psyched about. And it's Marvel, man. Like, they've had like what, maybe one or two misses. Every single other one has been like grand slam home run. Like, come on. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it at all. And I love the fact that Coulson is back. Even though it's like set in the 90s and everything, Coulson's in the movies again. Love that. I love Coulson. I watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's just not the same. I need Coulson of the movies, like murking out, to Captain America, wanting to see his trading cards and all that. That was super funny to me. I want to see that. I want to see that happen again. But hey, it's all good. Let's see. Let's get caught up with you guys. You guys are talking about it and everything. Yeah, the Mohawk. Everybody wants the Mohawk. Super cool. Freddie Torres, nah, she's just too old now. Captain Marvel's supposed to carry the MCU for a while. I guess referring to Katie Sackhoff. Yeah, that's probably a good point. Angel de la Cruz is with us, one of those Gundam guys, along with Freddie Torres and Gizmo Khan Gunplay. Says, you know what looked good? SCGMC. And that's right. Southern California Gundam Modeling Competition coming up in mid-November, November 17th, if I'm not mistaken, in beautiful Fullerton, California, at the Fullerton Hotel in Anaheim. So if you guys are out there, why don't you check it out? It's a good time. Hundreds of models, vendors galore. It's a good time. I'm still crunching numbers, and I'm still trying to get out there. Hopefully that message I just got was from Angel, but we'll see in a little bit. Obviously, not right now on the stream, because that would be rude, right? Let's see, Freddie Torres, she punches old ladies like a boss, though. That was super funny, right? My wife watched the trailer, who knows nothing about Captain Marvel, nothing about the Skrulls and everything, and she's just like, why'd she punch that old lady? Like, she legit thought she just cold-cocked an old lady. It was super funny. Had to explain it to her, but it was all good after that. Let's see. Space Rat 53. I'm not sure with the trailer. I see a few signs they could be going the get woke, go broke route with this one. I hope it doesn't go the way of Lucasfilms with Star Wars versus the fans right now. I don't think so. I think Marvel's always kind of had that diversity thing. I mean, you look even from back in the day, it's actually been one of the hallmarks, so I'm not really concerned with it at all, actually. So, more badass chicks, good for that. Super happy about that, honestly. Yeah, Freddie Torres, Coulson's been on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, I'm a watcher. I love that. Oh, the 10th, not the 17th. November 10th. Sorry, you guys. SCGMC is on November 10th. 10th, not 17th. Let's see. Yeah, everybody says it looks good. Special surprise this year for the awards, Freddie Torres is saying, but it's a secret. Cool. Let's see. Foodaway always says, is it a drinking prize? Or it's a drinking prize, isn't it? Because that is what that one promo had it in. Oh yeah, those promos are funny as shit, I gotta admit. If you guys haven't been watching, or if you're not, following those Gundam guys on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff, you absolutely should, because their promo vids are pretty funny. So, a lot of profanity, a lot of things that aren't necessarily appropriate for kids. Still damn funny, though. Still damn funny. All right, so let's get this front notch done up here. Where is the half mil? Here's my half mil. And where is the T-square? Here it is. So all I'm going to do here for this front notch here, this little guy right here, let's see if we can get focused. that little guy right there on the edge, all I'm going to do is just use my T-square as a guide, and we're going to go with that and just scribe into this. So just carefully hold the T-square up to this. Come on, you. Right about there. Let's check our spacing on this. That looks pretty good, though. A little offset. Needs to go a little bit more. I just scratched the surface, so that's not a big deal. We can sand that out here momentarily. Not even worried about that, really. All right. Once you get to sanding and everything, that'll knock that down. Okay. Get that established. Now we got to deepen it up. Okay, let's double check. Dead on. Sweet. All right, so that's all the notches for this thing. Really, really easy. Now let's move on and handle this pin detail, this little sewing pin detail. Let's get that done up here because that's a new thing that I don't think I've shown anyone on stream yet. So we're going to kind of eyeball this here. Now this one lands at about a 45-degree angle from this corner here. So corresponding, we're going to take it in from this corner, about 45 degrees up, just like that. And we're going to settle right about here. That's going to be where our pin head will be. So these little itty bitty pinheads are about 1.5 millimeters wide. So they're not really all that big, right? Let's see here. Chris Wu is with us. He says, hello. What's going on, Chris? Good to see you. Oh, yeah. You know, the visor blocks the way every now and then. Sorry about that. That's trying to get used to the angles of this new mounting for the camera and everything. So when I get in like this, yeah, there it is. There it goes. See, I try to go more off to the side like this so I can still get, you know, in close, but yeah, the visor sticks out so much. Sorry about that. Angel de la Cruz, thanks, Tim. You're welcome, man. Hey, you know, anything to support SCGMC, you guys know that. All right. So, here it is. Now, this is just kind of a general scriber with a tungsten carbide tip, right? You can get this pretty much anywhere. You can get them on Amazon. I think I got this one. I think this was included in a book that I got from HobbyMate over in Singapore. I forget, honestly, where I got this, but this is really, really useful. I just use this to punch in a little bit of a guide hole first, and that just kind of starts the process, just like that. Now, the first thing we need is to grab a pin. So I just keep all of my little sewing pins in this little jar here, just because it's nice and small. Screws on so they won't spill all over the place. Now, you don't want to stick your hand in here for obvious reasons. So use tweezers, and you want to try to get one that's fairly symmetrical, because sometimes the head can be offset on the shaft of the pin. So you want to get one that is somewhat symmetrical on the shaft itself. So grab one, put those away, screw that top back on, and now we're going to set this part off to the top. We need to measure this thing up a little bit. That's where your digital caliper comes into play. So let's do this. Let's zoom out just a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. And so first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the diameter of the shaft, because that's going to be important. So we can see that that's 0.51 millimeter, half a millimeter. There you go. Get the glare off of that. So half a millimeter shaft, that's the diameter. That's the first hole that we need to drill. Now, I'm going to need the little bitty bits over here. All right. So this is a nice little miniature drill bit set that that I have gotten off of Amazon. You can buy these on Amazon as well. Let's see, 0.51, number 76 is the wire gauge. That's, I think, going to be the one that we need. Okay, let's measure this just to be on the safe side and make sure that this is the right one. 0.48. We're probably going to need one bigger than that. Because what you want to do is you don't want it to be super, super tight. You don't want it to be super loose either. So we're going to use 0.53 millimeter here. And let's see if that measures up appropriately. Zero the caliper out. 0.53 on the money. That's what we want. Okay. So we're going to use that one. Set that off to the side. Now we need to grab our pin vise. And we don't have the appropriate chuck in. Now, the different chucks that you can get for your pin vise, they come in a bunch of different sizes. This one is a 4 chuck set that I got from Dremel. You've got some a really big one to hold like up to, I think, 3.5 millimeter drill bits, and then they go all the way down to basically 0 size, like this one here that we're going to need. So, and this clamps all the way down pretty much to nothing. You guys can see how big that hole is. That's virtually nothing there. I think that's more bevel than it is cavity or hole there. So we're going to pop this little guy in, pull him out a little bit, and we're going to bring the piece back in. Now this is going to be for, obviously, the shaft of the pin. We're going to drill right through everything. We're going to pop this right out the back, and there it is. So drilled right through the piece. Now what I like to do is trim off any little plastic that might have raised up around the hole, and actually I do that on both sides here, just to make it nice and clean. Alright, so now we've got the hole for the shaft. Now we need to measure the diameter of the pin's head. And it should be about 1.43. Okay, so what I do is I have a nice little handy cheat sheet here that shows me the, this is the gauge size, and then it converts it to what the millimeter size is as well. So we need 1.43, so we come down here, and that shows the next size up is 0.51. That's a number 53. So we need size 53 drill to make the indent for the pin head. So here is drill number 53. Pull that out, and let's get this popped in. I'm gonna change the chuck here. That's too big of a chuck. I need one size smaller. There we go. That's the one we want. Now, you do not want to drill all the way through. One thing that I like to do before that, since this hole here for the shaft is so small, I use kind of like a grinding bit, just a Dremel grinding bit, just to kind of expand the surface, just the surface hole there, so it makes it a little bit easier to drill. And then all you have to do is line up the drill bit with that hole, get it nice and centered, and slowly drill in. And basically what you're trying to do is countersink the pin head. Now you can grab your pin, hold it upside down, and drop the pin head in there, and that should be good there. Let's go ahead and dry fit that. We're going to push the pin all the way through this piece. We're going to fit this. Now, you may need to push the pin head a little bit with like a little piece of plastic, or in this case, this is just a bamboo skewer. Just push that down into its deepest possible depth. Now, obviously, this is going to come through the back. We are going to cut this off here momentarily, that pin shaft. But that's essentially the look that we're going for. And to match that up with the other piece, that looks pretty damn accurate. Now, there's one more step that we have to do, and that's to bevel the outside edge of the hole. So we're going to use a little pair of pliers. We're just going to easily push that back through the front. Set the pin off to the side. Now we're going to need just a little ball grinding bit. And let's get zoomed in so you can see a little bit better detail. So just a little ball grinding bit here. You can get these at pretty much any hardware store, Amazon, whatever. And I just like to hold the bit in my hand and just lightly bevel that hole just a little bit, just to finish it off. It just makes a nice finished look. Once you got that nice and beveled, that hole is pretty much done. Set your grinding bit off to the side. Now, to trim this, what I like to do is to set this back into the piece, push that all the way in to its deepest possible depth, just like that, and then use a Sharpie and just mark where this piece, where the shaft meets the back side of the part. Real easy, right? So now all you have to do is just give that a second for it to dry, and then push this back through, and you're going to have a black mark on the shaft of the pin. And let's get super zoomed in so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, because it's impossible to see right now on screen. So there you go. You have this nice little black mark here just on the shaft of the pin. You can see that there very, very easily. That's where you're going to trim it, just above that black mark. And that's just an easy way of measuring up how much pin shaft that you need to trim off of this thing. So very easy stuff. Very easy stuff. Okay, so to do that, we're going to need, where's our little wire cutters? Where to put them? Shit. I lost them. Oh well. You have kind of a cutting mechanism here on these needle nose pliers, so they work just as good. Not a big deal. Now, when you go to cut this, you got to be super careful because you don't want to lose the pin head and you don't want the shaft of the pin to go flying either. So what I do is I turn the shaft around, bury that into the cutting mat, and then cut that right off. Set the shaft aside, tear off any little excess that might have been left over from cutting, and then reseat this pin back into the piece so you don't lose it. Or you can put it in a little box or a little baggie or something like that and save it, but you're probably better off putting it into the actual piece since it's going to hold pretty nice. Now, this is going to be obviously much harder to handle since it's so small, so I recommend using tweezers like I am now doing. Come on. Even with the tweezers, it's still somewhat difficult to handle. But once you get it lined up, and once you start getting that pushed in, then it becomes obviously a lot easier to handle. There we go. Alright. Just use a nice metal ruler to push this in. There we go. Now, from what it looks like, we might have just a little bit of hangover, just a little bit more length on that we need to cut back. But we're not going to worry about that right this second. But that's essentially how you seat a pin for that little detail. Easy stuff. It's not hard, you know? And like I said on the last stream, you could go out and you could spend, you know, $5 on 10 or 15 of those little miniature high-Q little ball bearings and achieve the same look, right? Or you could go out and spend half that money on 500 little sewing pins. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer myself. I think it's a no-brainer. But anyway. Astria Kai is with us. He's joined us. Thank you for watching. Fred Torres, I get up for 1 second and my dog manages to chew on a piece of my bear guy whip. Ouch. Jeez. Chris Wu, need to become Inspector Gadget to get perfection. Yeah, pretty much. Bailey, so the Dremel chucks work in the Zona pin vise? Absolutely. Yeah, 100% works perfectly. And that's honestly all I've been using. The pin or the chucks that came with the Zona pin vices, I don't even know where they are, to be honest with you. I just kind of tossed them just because I like the Dremel ones better. They're a little bit higher quality. So yeah, I just bought the Dremel ones and just use these in the Zona. Really easy. So you get 4, and like I said, they come in various diameters. Let's see if I can actually stand these suckers up here for you to see. And there we go. So obviously it goes from biggest to smallest there, but those are the 4 chucks that you get in the Dremel chuck set. And obviously, since they're from Dremel, you can use these in a Dremel and work the same way, or you can use these in the Zona pin vices as well. These are really, really good, very high quality chucks for grinding tools and pin vices and stuff like that. Really good stuff. So, yep. And like I said, they just slot in perfectly, just like the normal Zona ones do. The tightening head just screws right on. Works perfect. Works perfectly. So, yeah, get you some. Let's see. Bailey says, I will look into that. I really like my Zona pin vise. Dude, I love this thing. Hence the reason why I have 2 of them. It looks like Freddy's model. Anyway, so let's see. Chris Wu, mostly I use computer parts where the IC connector, where I salvage small bits of female pins inside to do the detailing thrusters. Yeah, I've used IC pins and IC sockets and stuff like that myself several times. Actually used them on the Hummingbird a few, but I don't know. You have to use them. I find them to be situational because since they're so long, I mean, obviously you can trim them up, but still they're still going to be quite long in terms of depth in a model. So you're going to have to pick and choose where to put those, right? Because if you cut them too much, it could just end up crushing them and deforming the circular shape of them. So I've used them definitely several times, and they're a great little detail. But yeah, like I said, I find them situational. So Space Rat 53 says, working on masking parts for detail painting on the 1/100 overflag while watching the stream. A nice build so far. The overflag looks pretty damn cool, to be honest with you. I've always kind of admired it, and yeah, always kind of wanted to get it. Freddie, you know what I'm saying. Freddie was wrong, you guys. Freddie was wrong. Go follow Freddie. He's a good dude. Anyway, so looks like what we've got here is a nice matchup of panels and details, notches, the whole nine. And where's the back of this? Let's get this popped on to see what both of them look like thus far. By the looks of it, I don't even have to trim that that pin anymore. That fits nicely. So there's the kind of the finished look, right? Looks pretty good, yeah. So all we have to do now is just bevel this strapping piece over here. Let's do a time check. 11:33. Cool. We still got plenty of time to work here, you guys. So let's bevel these pieces really quickly, and then we'll get into that bar, that half-round bar light style detail that I showed you on the shoulders here a little bit ago. Let's put the drill bit away first because I don't want to lose it. Losing these small drill bits would be a bad idea. All right, so let's get to beveling this. Now we're just going to hand bevel this bad boy here, and so this takes a little bit of good dexterity. You want to be super careful with it so you don't scratch the surface of the corresponding part. And as you can see, I'm just using my hobby blade just to scrape down the corner of this thing. And doing something like this, that's where these visors, these optivisors come in really super handy, because you can get in and really see what what your tolerances are, where your blade is going, and the whole 9 yards, making sure that bevel looks really quite good and even. And yeah, this is the point where these visors are worth its weight in gold. Hopefully I'm not blocking the view with my visor like I did before. Sorry about that, Chris, again. Alright. A few more sides, and then this thing's going to be good. Okay. That looks pretty good and even. So one last thing is what I like to do is just bevel this corner, this top kind of corner right here. Just bevel it ever so slightly. Now, one other thing that you're going to have to do, since you beveled that side, the angles aren't going to match here on the two edges. So what we really need to do is just kind of trim off the corner to make a flat part. And we'll get super zoomed in on this so I can show you what I mean. Okay, so let's get super zoomed in on that, and I'll show you what we're talking about, cutting off the corners there of that bevel, because that's actually kind of an important look, right? All right, so get my little pointer out here. So since we beveled this edge right here, these two corners, if we didn't chop off this corner, wouldn't have matched up correctly. Let's see if we can even get that focus there. So it's going to be hard still, but you can see right here is kind of a flat part right here at this where this corner meets up. So basically what you're trying to simulate is this bevel here wrapping over and down into this corner, right? And then these two bevels going off on either direction. And we do that on both sides. There you can kind of see that flat part right there on the corner a little bit better. But that's what we need to do. That's what you need to remember about bevels, angles, all that good stuff. Okay. All right. So last thing we need to do on this thing is just glue on this top edge here. So looks like we had a little bit of super glue overspill in this. So we're just going to trim that back. Just get that nice and cleaned up. Just scrape that surface nice and even. Okay, before we do that, let's pull off this back part so we don't get glue on it. And now I pre-cut the top piece here, so we can just slap that on. But first, let's make sure that this is wide enough. Yep, looks good. Okay, so real simple. We're just going to apply a nice little amount of super glue up here. Spread that around real even. And there we go. All right, so now all we have to do is pop this piece on there. It should line up perfectly. It's parallel with that side, and nice and even with the piece. And it's not a big deal if it's not perfectly even or if it overlays on both sides. We can trim that up after the fact. That's not really a big deal. We just need to make sure that this piece is parallel with this outside edge of the piece right here. So this plate, this edge needs to be parallel with this edge, right? That's the important thing. That's the important thing. So we're going to trim this up here momentarily. And just like any strapping method that we've done, we're going to take off most of the excess with the nippers first, right? And then around the corners. Boom. And then in here, we need to be a little bit careful. We're just going to nibble this away since we can't get the nippers in here at a very good angle at all. So we're just going to just casually trim this back. And then we'll trim back the rest that we can't get with our hobby knife here momentarily. Alright, so there we go. Already looking like it's taking shape here. Let's get this inside edge real quick first. We're going to take off the good amount with our hobby knife. Just take off a big chunk of plastic. And we'll go back and finish that up. Make that nice and even with the original piece. And like with any strapping detail, we're going to let the knife run along the original part, use that as a guide, and then we're just going to kind of scrape that nice and evenly. And that will basically form one single surface. So that's nice and trimmed up there. Looks good. So now we're going to come back and start to trim the front part a bit. So just like with the inside, you want to allow your knife to run along the edge. And the corner bevels are probably going to be the hardest part. They're going to be the most intricate, and the part that you're going to have probably the most most difficulty in evening up, right? Getting them nice and flush with one another. The front part, with it being nice and flat, is going to be super simple. Okay. Now, obviously, you want to take your time with this. You want to be super accurate. This is where dexterity and knife control really come in handy. Okay. The last piece that we got to remove, and then we just need to scribe up and over this part, which will not take us much time at all. Now, this little piece right here in this corner is always going to be the toughest part, simply because you need to be careful. You don't want to scratch any of these pieces. I think we're looking pretty good. We just need to trim this back, this edge back just a little bit more here. Still in focus? Yeah, we're looking good. Tim Nelson is over there on Facebook. He says, "What up?" He says, "You do nice work and good tools." Well, thank you, Tim. Appreciate that, buddy. Thank you for watching. Alright. Flatten this edge here. Let's get that piece popped out here. Okay, so there, that's all nicely trimmed. Now we just have to extend these scribes up and around this piece just to tie it in. Okay, now that's all trimmed up. Really easy, nice and neat. And from the looks of it, looks like we got a matching set. Woo! That thing makes so much heat, I swear. All right, Bailey says, is the Dremel Chuck that collet set you have listed in the Amazon link? Yes, it is. It's the 4-piece collet set. So I think the terms are interchangeable. I don't know. I call it a Chuck. Could be, correct name could be collet. I don't know, man. But yes, that's the same one that's listed on Amazon. Yes. So, all right, guys. So we've got 2 perfectly matching back skirts now. So let's pop on the back. Kind of get the full effect here. Yeah, I dig it. Wipe away the dust on these things. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Those are all done. So let's tackle this little light bar detail here real quick. Let's see. Let's get the Jesta in here. And let's get one of his legs pulled off because I put one of these on the legs. And we're going to get the foot pulled off here. All right, so here's the foot of the Jesta. And what I did was I put this little half round, 1 millimeter half round here. And that's going to become basically like a little light bar. Yeah, so. Carlo Castro is with us. He's watching over there on good old Facebook. And let's see. Bailey says, yeah, machinists say collet, like for CNC mills and such. Okay, cool. Space Rat 53, any video games you're waiting on coming out? I'm looking forward to Valkyria Chronicles 4 next week. Good question. I'm not a huge gamer. I would honestly spend my time working on a kick-ass model, quite frankly. So, and when I do play games, they're usually pretty old. What I like to do is wait for the Steam sale and get games that are like, 50, 75% off. That's kind of like my MO. So, yeah, that's what I do. All right. So, this part here, this little half round, 1 millimeter half round, is 5 millimeters long. What we're going to start off with is we need to start off with a border scribe to establish the look of separation, right? So we're going to scribe the 2 sides and the top. Now the bottom is already scribed because I set this right up against a panel line. So one side is already nicely scribed and separated for us. Now, obviously, with this thing being 1 millimeter in diameter, we're working pretty small here, right? So it may not necessarily translate that great on screen, but we're going to get super zoom involved, and we're going to show you the details of this thing, because this is a really cool look, especially once this is painted up. Okay, we're just getting this border scribe deepened a little bit here. All right. So there's the border scribe. Let's get super zoom on this, and you can see how this looks as a separated part now. So let's see. We're going to need to zoom out to catch the focus of this. Now we got focus. Now it should be perfect. Yeah. Okay, so now you can see this little half round bar here. We've border scribed all around it. Now it looks kind of separated from the rest of the piece. Now we can start to put in those horizontal or those vertical lines in the actual half round itself. And that's when it starts to kind of take on the look of a light bar. That's when it starts to kind of get cool. So to do that, what I like to do, and this is just, I'm just eyeballing here. So I take my knife, and I'm not going to press all the way through. I'm just going to kind of press around just to kind of establish a line. Now this will guide me when I go to use the chisel, right? You want to try to make it even on both sides. And you do not want to press the knife all the way through the half round, or you're just going to cut it off and it's going to go flying and it's just going to be a mess. So you don't want to do that. So now that we've got these kind of cut lines established, basically you're just going to go in here with your chisel and just lightly start to go at this this line. You're going to use that as a guide. Okay. All right, so there's one side. Now we're going to get the other side established here. Ah, damn it. Piece just popped off. And that will happen. If you don't have enough glue on this thing, that will absolutely happen if you're not super careful. Not a big deal. We can just glue it back into place. A little super glue, no big deal. But that does illustrate the fragility of these parts. That sucks. So when you go to glue this thing back, man, be really careful and make sure you get the orientation right. Okay. That looks good. That will happen with superglued little parts like that. Because there's not a lot of surface area underneath of this thing. This is only, like I said, 1 millimeter wide by 5 millimeters long. So there's not a lot of surface area. So as you're, you know, poking and prodding this thing and trying to scribe lines into it, the whole nine, it very well, like you just saw, could dislodge. But it's easy enough to glue back on. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. And if you're careful, you can glue it right back into the same spot that it popped out of. Alright, so that looks good. Let's run the chisel around this thing one last time to even it up. Just make sure we're looking good here. Little glue got into the panel lines here, but that's, again, easy enough to clean out. Not a big deal. All right. Just a little bit of final cleanup here. Let's get off the flash and the gunk off of here with an old toothbrush. Let's get super zoomed in on this. And there is the finished piece. Now, like I said, when I go to paint this, this whole kind of light bar here will be offset in color. These two side pieces will kind of be maybe like a grayish color, maybe like a dark gray, maybe a 50% dark gray. And then this middle section here, that's where the light is. That's basically going to be like a red or a green, maybe a fluorescent color, something to simulate and show that it's actually a light, like a safety light or a warning light or something of that nature, right? So that's the reason for those pieces. And I really like that little detail. It's kind of one of the things that I like to finish a part up with. So slap this back in place, and you can see kind of the final look of it. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. There it is. Easy peasy. All right, let's get caught up in the chat, shall we? There we go. It's about that time. Let's see. Rundus J22 is with us. He says, "Hey Tim, hello." M. Nielsen is also. It looks like at least the Carpet Monster didn't get that piece. Yeah, right. Oh, I would have been pissed if I did that. But luckily, I cut a few more pieces. So I had backups just in case. Those little half rounds and stuff like that. So it's not a huge deal if I did lose it. But since I already had it, mostly scribed and everything, yeah, I would have been pissed. Would have been mad, very mad. So Space Rat 53, I try to wait for Steam sales too. They got a bunch of Resident Evil and Devil May Cry games on sale. Pretty cool, pretty cool. You know, when it comes to games, I honestly like single player games and stuff like that, or simulation games and stuff. I don't really get too much into gaming all that hardcore. You know, I used to be into MMOs back in the day, you know, in the mid 2000s and stuff like that, but I just kind of got out of it. I played City of Heroes back in the day. I was a big City of Heroes fan. I had, you know, City of Heroes, City of Villains, you know, all points in between, all of the updates and everything. I got the game like maybe 2 months after it came out, the original game, and I played it basically from start when it first came out to when it shuttered. I was there when the game closed down, when it said you're disconnected from the server. It was a sad point, but man, it was such a fun game, and I still actually have friends that I made over that game that I'm still in touch with today. So it was really cool. But yeah, you know, like the last game I just finished up was Far Cry 3, right? Pretty old. And before that, I finished Just Cause 3. 4 is about ready to come out, I think, at the end of the year. So, yeah, that's kind of like my gaming prowess, if you will. I'm not really into gaming all that much, but I will take a break here and there and just kind of, you know, spend some mindless hours with a game. Like I said, I like simulation games as well, kind of like your SimCity games, Roller Coaster Tycoon. Those are super old, but those are the style games that I kind of dig. So, yeah. Let's see. Space Rat 53 also says building models is great, but sometimes you even need a break from that, especially if you're getting frustrated with a problem during a build or just get burnt out from building once in a while. Yeah, that's very true. That's a very good point. Burnout can be really harsh sometimes. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Hey, Rex Monus Leonin is over there on Facebook. He says, thanks, Tim. You're welcome. Kira Yet, our soon-to-be space engineer. When the chat time comes, it also becomes the time that I got to go. Oh, man, that sucks, man. Hey, chime in earlier, Kira. We'll talk with you, man. Don't be afraid to chime in and say hi, man. That's awesome. Let's see, Bailey. Ooh, I loved Far Cry 3 so much, though. It was a good game. I was really happy with that game. That was fun. Like, I'll even go back and like just roam around the world, if you will. That was fun, and I like Just Cause 3, just from kind of the tactical standpoint, like the base raids, the little miniature base raids that you could do. Like I would go back and unsecure a base just to retake it again after I completed the game. That was just the fun part to me, because I would love to, like, you know, sneak up, snipe the people and see if I could just, you know, get all the bases, you know, raided without being detected. That was just fun to me. I don't know why. Maybe it was because I played a stalker back in City of Heroes, City of Villain days. I was good too, man. PvP. Yeah, they hated to see me come into the server when that happened. It was rough for them. Anyway, let's see. Space Rat, know anyone who does good work with hand painting? Bailey says paint on plastic, Mr. Lincoln Wright. Absolutely, I agree the same. Lincoln Wright is a wonderful content creator, and he does all hand painting and everything. Another good person to look up to in terms of hand painting is Mr. Win I'm Ong, Paint Pusher on Facebook. All of his models, even the one that he won GBWC with, were hand painted. He doesn't use airbrush. He doesn't know how to airbrush. So yeah.
let's see. Rundus J22, thinking about any future projects? Always. I'm always thinking about future projects, man. In the beginning of the stream, I showed this. You have no idea what this will become. But this is actually going to be a jig. Yeah, like the scribing jigs that I've shown you, the glue up jigs, these little guys. This will become the soon to be the biggest jig I have ever created, and it's going to take some time. So yeah, that's a future project. I'm not going to say too much about that because I want to work out the kinks in this thing before I commit to it. So everything's going to essentially hinge on this jig being successful. So if it's not successful, then I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board, and who knows if I'm going to be able to pull what I have in mind off. So yeah, so always thinking about future projects. You know, after this, obviously, you know, I have to complete the GM Spartan, and then I also want to start on the video tutorial series with the old school HGUC RX-78. That will be the base kit for that tutorial series, and that'll kick off kind of the you know, pre-recorded content for the YouTube channel as well. So we're getting there. We're getting there. So just takes time, right? Now I know before, let's see, I think, yeah, Bailey says, and you're still airbrushing these. These little details, these little itty bitty things, abso-freaking-lutely I'm going to airbrush those, man. I don't do hand painting. I don't do hand painting at all, just simply because of the surface difference. I can't do it. I cannot get myself over that. No matter what, I always see brush strokes and it's never super clean. So yes, I will be airbrushing those itty bitty little details. Absolutely, absolutely. They're not that hard. Just a little bit of masking tape. No big deal. No big deal. And we'll show you that once we get into the painting and masking part of this particular project, because there's going to be a good amount of masking going on with all these little bits and bobs and details and stuff like that we've added on here. So that'll be a good good set of streams to tune into. I mean, just the bottom of the foot alone, there's going to be a ton of masking, and then all these little white parts there are going to be individual colors as well. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of masking. So that should be fun. That should be a lot of fun. All right. Enrico says, I love hand painting details. It's a ton of fun. Man, I just can't do it. I don't know. Maybe it's just personal preference. I just can't do it. Space Rat 53 says 2001 HGUC RX-78-2 was my first Gumbo back in the early 2000s from a Walmart back when Gundam toys were in the stores here in the US. Man, that's what I love to see. I love old school kits from Walmart, from Toys R Us back in the day when there was actually a Bandai America division before they shut that thing down. Yeah, those were fun times. Those bring back memories from the forum days, you know. So that's cool. That's cool, man. Because I started right around then too. Mickle Pickle. God, I love that name. Have you looked into any of the Supernova kits? Yeah. I like the look of the Supernova kits. You know, I'm just not. I've got, number one, I've got so many models here that I already want to build that I don't want to go buy more. I like them, but I think there's maybe too much detail in the Supernova kits for my taste. I like to add my own, obviously. You know, I think they're really cool looking. I think they did a great job design-wise with the Supernova kits. I just don't know if I would actually buy one. I respect the design and everything a lot, though. So, yeah, Mickle Pickle.
So good. Such a great name. Love that. Anything in your backlog that's that you're wanting to tackle after this project? That's from Rundus J22. Anything in my backlog currently? Yes, a bunch of stuff actually. I think probably the top 3 on my list right now are in no particular order. The Master Grade Hyakushiki 2.0, the RE Baowu, and the Master Grade Rizel Type C. So those are kind of the 3. Like I said, in no particular order. Those are the ones that I kind of have like the ideas eating into my brain right now. So I'll probably pick up one of those after all this stuff and then go from there. So the Shiki, the plating on the Shiki's stripped, and he's down at bare plastic. He's just kind of sitting over here on the bench waiting waiting to be worked on. Same with the Baowu, and then the Rizel is in its box, but he's snapped up too and cleaned up and all that good stuff. So yeah, so all that's kind of waiting for me. So yeah, but then I have to think about GBWC next year, and I have to think about what I'm going to do for that. I've got some ideas rattling around in my head, but I haven't really decided on anything just yet. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Bailey, Gundam.com. Oh, dude, you're taking me back there, man. Yes, Gundam.com. For those of you that don't know, Gundam.com was the source for pretty much everything Gundam back in the day. Funny fact, though, is that it wasn't owned by Bandai or Sunrise or any entity from Japan. It was actually owned by a guy in Canada who went by the pseudonym of Amuro Ray. Right? Nobody knew who he actually was, or at least nobody that I knew of knew his actual name. But he held on to Gundam.com. I think he still owns it at this point. Yeah, he's sat on that thing for years. He closed it down, I think, in the mid-2000s. That was kind of the first dose of Gundam that I got when I first started modeling and everything. Jumped on those forums, and man, I still keep in touch with some of those guys from way back in the day. Those Gundam guys, especially. That's kind of where I met Clem, Gamera Banrai. Kind of the leader, if you will, one of the leaders of those Gundam guys. And, oh, Gundam.com is for sale, Freddie says. How much? Probably a lot. But yeah, that forum, yeah, Bailey, that forum was insane. Yeah, it was. I was just about to say that actual statement. It was so good. And I take, still, again, I still follow a lot of the guys that were on there. And then when I made my own forum, a lot of those guys that were kind of frustrated with that forum kind of came over to the Chada Mecha forums, and that's kind of when Gundam.com died, and then everybody else needed a place to park, so they all came to ChadaMecha.com and chilled on that forum. And then obviously there was a ton of people that came up from that forum, and a lot of people that I still follow, talk to and respect even today. So yeah, man, you're talking early mid 2000s. It was super time of my life. So, run as J22. Time for Tim to take up the Gundam.com mantle. Oh man, I would love to. I would love to own that URL. That would be amazing. Takes you to an offer form. Well, then you're talking at least 5, if not 6 figures there. So I'm not. That's way out of my price range. I'll offer tree fitty. I'll give you tree fitty for it. Who knows? Maybe I might get lucky. I don't know, but I very much doubt it. Bailey says, I lurked it. I was mostly on Gundam Project. Another good one. Holy shit. And the Operation Gundam Forum. Never heard of that one. I don't know if that was as well known. I was on what? I was on Gundam.com, GundamShop.com back in the day, and then Gundam Project a little bit, not too much. Mark Simmons, Gundam Project. If you guys don't know that, I'm sure you've seen artwork from that. It floats around still, and I think I still have a copy of the website before it closed down. I'll have to search for that and see, because I think I still have all that artwork. I basically just bulk downloaded the entire site, HTML pages, the whole nine, just as a whole. And I've got this. I got that lying around on a CD, backed up somewhere in my archives. It's got to be around here somewhere. It would take me a year to find it, though, to be honest with you. But yeah, the Gundam Project was awesome. Gundam Shop was really great. That was like, man, that was like what USA Gundam Store is today. Back in the day, that was the place. If you needed Gundam in the US, you went to GundamShop.com, and that was the place where you got it. They were operating virtually on the same level, but in different periods of time. They were huge back in the day, huge. And they would have everything too, man. Obscure kits, old kits, new kits, parts, the whole nine yards. It was awesome. And then they had a great forum to boot, and that was a hell of a lot of fun. But then they closed down their forums, and all of those people came to the Child of Mecha forums as well. It was kind of like, it was like perfect timing. Two of these massive forums closing down at very close amount of times, and then everybody just dumping into my forum, and it just kind of took off from there, and it shocked the hell out of me. Right? We had some good mods back in the day. Brandon, Mr. B-Hop, one of those Gundam guys. He was my first mod. So shout out to Brandon, man. He good dude. And then we had some other really good folks on there as well. I won't bore you guys with tales of it, but man, it was such a good time. I wish forums were still a thing, but man, it was so good. Bailey, oh yeah, B-Hop 73. Yep. That's my boy, Brandon. Hopefully, if I can get out to California, hopefully I will be able to meet him in person for the first time. After what, almost 20 years of knowing the dude and all that. So, perfect timing, suspicious. Yeah, right. I wish I was smart enough back then to try and take down the two bigger forums. You had contests, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we did. So it was a few of us. It was like me and Brandon and Clem, Gamma Banray from those Gundam guys, and a bunch of other guys that we would kind of get together. And Brandon kind of spearheaded a online kind of modeling contest, monthly modeling contest. I forget what it was called. It was GMC Gundam. I think it was just Gundam Modeling Competition.com. He probably doesn't own it anymore, but that's what the URL was. And people, you would submit it online and everything. Like, you would email pictures of your model every month, and they would judge in the whole nine yards. It was so much fun. And we would do competitions on there. And then back in the day, I used to make water slide decals on my Alps printer, and I would send out decals to people, and they would have to use that to make a model and everything. And it was so much fun. And we did little things like that. It was good times. But man, so much knowledge on those forums, and just lost over time, just gone. I think I have a SQL. I think I have a database backup somewhere too, but shit. To try and parse all of that information, you're talking 6-7 years of constant posts across 20 different sub forums, and several thousand members and stuff like that, oh, forget it. That would be virtually impossible to parse that information back into a usable form. But man, just it was so good. Such a good time back then, you guys. With Facebook and Facebook groups and Instagram and all that stuff, man, you guys don't know what you're missing with the forums. It was a good technology, but you know, like with every technology, it fades. So it is what it is. But yeah. Let's see. Freddie Torres, he gave me the tall geese I used in my diorama. Good dude. Yeah, that's cool. I want to meet Brandon. Every time that I've been out to California, he hadn't been there. So now that he's kind of rotated back in, you know, with those Gundam guys, now hopefully if I am able to get out there this year, hopefully I'm able to meet him for the actual first time. So it's been a long time coming, I think, you know. So fingers crossed, hopefully I can get out there this year, because it's been, what, 3-4 years since I've been out to SCGMC. Such a good time. Such a good time. So, all right, boys, let's see, 12:22, let's wrap this one up, okay, shall we? Q&A on Friday, Q&A. So tomorrow, keep an eye out on my Facebook page and my Instagram and the Instagram stories. I will be posting an official Ask Your Questions Here style post, especially on Instagram with the, you know, kind of ask a question ability on the stories. That'll come in very, very useful. So keep an eye out for that. Even if you're not able to watch live, that's cool. We'll still answer your question. You know, I'll pull it up on my phone or whatever, and we'll answer your question in depth and hopefully in detail that you would like it. And you can watch it after the fact. I know a lot of people watch the stream after, you know, after the fact, once it's recorded and everything. Hundreds of views on Facebook, a bunch of views on YouTube, not so many views on Twitch. Twitch is still kind of a developing thing, but that's okay. Still love Twitch. And so yeah, so ask your questions once we post those tomorrow, and we'll have fun with it. So hopefully it'll be a nice Q&A session. If we get done the Q&A, we'll get back to work on the Jesta. So problem solved. But all right, you guys. So hey, win this model. This one right here. You can win that very model if you donate to the Gunpla Talk fundraiser / giveaway. We are raising money for the National Alopecia Areata Foundation, a very good charity. And one lucky donor will win that model. 6 other donors will win the little resin busts from our good friend, the paint pusher, Mr. Win I'm Ong. And some other folks will win some prizes from our good friend Ace Schultz, Mr. Burkanatir on Facebook, that he is sending my way. One of them is a P-Bandai Polypod. The others are some detail parts and some other knickknacks, but also he's including some BMC chisels, you guys. I'm excited for that. Really excited to help give that away. That should be really, really cool to one lucky donor. So if you haven't donated already, please go do so. No minimum, no maximum either. So go do that today. That would mean a lot to us. What is it? GoFundMe.com/GunplaTalk. If you have any problems finding it, hit up the Gunpla Talk Facebook page or something like that, or one of us on the Gunpla Talk show, and we will definitely help you out and help guide you into that path. If you're not in a position to donate, we understand. Times are tough for everybody right now, no matter where you live. Give us a share. Share our little fundraiser on Facebook, in your favorite Gundam community, Facebook group or what have you, your Instagram, make a video on it for YouTube or whatever too. That would be cool. Give us a share, you know, that would be cool too. If you want this Blue Destiny shirt, you can find it on childofmecha.com and hit up the store up at the top. You can find a bunch of t-shirts, a bunch of hats, a lot of bags, and soon-ish pillows and stuff like that too that are really, really comfy and cool. If you want to take a look at any of the tools that I've used here tonight, or any of the books that we have reviewed, maybe not the one that we reviewed earlier tonight, but any of the ones that we've reviewed in past streams, you can find those on the little Amazon link down on this, down just below, or, nope, that way, over here in the Facebook description. Hit that up. That helps the stream out, too. Freddie Torres, Calm Body Pillow. No, never going to happen. Mm-mm. No. No waifu pillow. Mm-mm. No. Not happening. Not happening, Freddie, and you're not the first one to ask. So, anyway, let's reconvene back here on Friday, shall we? I think we can set that as a date. You and me, come on back. And make sure you ask questions tomorrow on the post and stuff like that. It'll be a good time. So, without any further ado, and I'm trying to think if we missed anything. I don't think we did. Maybe not. Share the stream if you would be so nice, too. That would be amazing, too. But until next time, guys, be safe, build something cool. I'll see you on Friday. See you guys.